On this episode of Game Shack, Arcade1up hit its high water mark with its release of Tron nearly 3 years ago. I'm going to give you guys 5 easy, relatively inexpensive ways that you can make this already great cab even more awesome. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit more about it being sold out and a few other things. So stay tuned, all that and more coming up next. Hey everybody, welcome on back into the Game Shack. I'm your host JDV for Evil Genius Entertainment. Thank you for stopping by. If it's first time here, or if you like this kind of content, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. That does help the channel too. Give me a thumbs up. All that stuff helps gets YouTube to direct these videos to people who maybe don't know so much about home arcade stuff. So, more the merrier is what I say. Okay, so as you guys know who watch this channel a lot, I've raved about this cabinet. I've had it almost 6 months now. I got it new, used in box, so it was all completely packaged the way it was for $450 from a reseller. Talk a little bit about the availability of this cab at the end of the video, but suffice it to say it has absolutely lived up to that and is one of the few cabs that I would actually say might actually be worth $699. It is such an outstanding cab. It's such a big showpiece in your home arcade, and the fact that you really cannot get good used real copies of this in the real world that make it such a coveted cab from Arcade1up. But as great as it is, there are a few things that you could do to just make it look cooler, more OG, whatever how you want to say it. So I didn't really try to stay exactly like arcade or anything. I just tried to make it better looking and more fun and more functional. The first way I did that is by adding this $35 Kickplate art from DBGraphix. Now DBGraphix has done other work for me, including I got the Kickplate art for my Terminator machine back there, which is really great and it's held up. It's been on there now I think for 2 years. I mean, looks stock. That's one of the great things about this Kickplate is it looks like it came with the machine. They did the artwork for my pinball machine, so they've always done good work for me and quick turnaround time and everything else. And same for this. I just flipped the normal panel over and I just put it on the back side here. And so if you want to go back to stock, you could. I don't know why you would, but for $35, it's a way to really add a little something right to the front of the cab. Now the second thing that I did was, after I added this, I kind of wanted there to be a blue light or something coming out of there, and I experimented with a neon strip light, which you'll see now kind of behind the machine, giving a little bit of backlight. I got it for $5. There's a link down below for 10. So maybe if you wait around, it'll come down in price. But so $10, you get one of those cool little new LED neon style lights. I just hang it on the back there, almost like a coat hanger, and it adds a really nice effect. Now I went with it behind because if you have it in the front, it tends to interfere with the black light effect that is happening in this cool lit panel right here. So I ended up just putting it behind the machine anyway. Getting one of those little neon lights, you can put it on top, on the sides, whatever, if you got enough of them, is a really cheap, easy way to make it seem even more science fiction-y. Staying right here in the front of the cab, you'll see here I have a little stainless steel collar that I've put on there. There was a couple other videos on YouTube that said this was a smart thing to do because these joysticks do have a reputation for shearing off right there where you twist it around a lot. So if you put too much pressure either way on the joystick, I guess apparently it can break. I didn't want to take chances, so for $15, I got this collar. Again, links down below for all of this stuff. I don't make any commission off of this or anything. This is just the stuff I used. The other thing you can do that's cheap is if you take this apart, you can put epoxy or some other kind of synthetic glue in there to really stiffen it up and then put this back on here. But I didn't want to take a razor blade to this. I didn't want to mess with it. That's another thing you can do that I didn't do. I did buy the micro switch that you can put in here so you can really go at it. But again, same thing, I bought it and I just kind of have it reserved in case the trigger dies. I think the trigger's okay on this game, but you can definitely get better results if you are a high score chaser. But that's another cheap thing that you can do as kind of an honorary mention type fix. So those are relatively easy, cheap things that you can do. $15 collar, $35 Kickplate, $5 micro switch. That's really not a lot of money. Get some Gorilla Glue if you really want to stiffen up that center. Again, we're not into it for a whole lot of money or effort. Really the big money, big effort thing that you can do is get this deluxe bezel, they're calling it, and this clear transparent J panel that you can put a computer monitor on and get the MPC background going 24/7 as you play the game. It really does add a huge effect. The artwork that comes with it is great. It matches all the other, and it seems to be reactive with that light. And I got that from RNSK SKUNKWERKS for $89.99. I think you might pay $10 shipping to handle it. Anyway, I got it for I think $95 all told. And boy, it's really been great. It is the big wow factor of this build. And because I knew I was getting it at the same time when I was buying the machine, I think I actually got the kit before I ended up picking up the machine. I knew I was going to get one at some point. So you just don't put in the J panel. You take the J panel out and replace it with essentially this sheet of acrylic or plexiglass, whatever it is, with the artwork on there. And the two wooden blocks you see on either side, you leave those, the two little like little Lincoln log looking things, you leave those on the sides of the cab, put this underwork under those and just kind of put it in there. And at first I did not think it was going to be stable, but it is actually very stable. I haven't had any problems with it at all. I do use a little Gorilla Tape to kind of hold it down and back. And then on top of that, what you're going to do is you're going to put this computer monitor that you can get from Amazon. I paid $75, $76 for that to get that monitor, and I got the newest version of it. Again, I'll have the exact link down below. And with that, it's really cool because when you turn on your computer, your PC, whatever it is that's driving the background image, and you could use any image or video that you want, of course. It could be Tron throwing the disc or whatever you think is good there. It'll turn itself on when you turn that other device on. I just used the actual J panel from the machine as a sort of bench for the PC to sit on. I used the cardboard from the bezel that got shipped to me, and I just kind of stuffed that underneath there, and it has worked perfectly ever since. You just turn on the computer, click on the image, or if you have Launchbox, I think you can even just get it to come up automatically. I haven't messed with that yet. Anyway, that is the big wow factor thing that you can do to this cab, is put in that MPC moving in the background and that artwork on the side. It's really nice. You can also, this is not something I've done yet, but on Etsy for I think 25 bucks, you can get mirrored sides that will fit perfectly into those little cutouts, and that makes it even more arcade perfect. I probably actually will do that, but 25 bucks is a lot for that. But I think I probably eventually will do it. Anyway, hopefully that gives you some ideas for modding the cab. There's lots of cool things that you can do to add onto it. Like this bezel is really cool because it has this glow-in-the-dark paint on it that's green. It says NCOM at the bottom. That is really, really nice. All the things that I mentioned look like they came with the cab, and I suppose that is the greatest compliment you can give to a third-party manufacturer, is that it looks like it should have been with the cab the whole time. If you can get this game for anything around $500, you are probably making a pretty fun investment in terms of your own time. You can definitely soup it up for not that much more money, like $200, $220, takes care of everything that I did on this cab. But you're not going to be able to find this cab new, and if you do, you are going to be paying that $699, $700, because this thing has not come down in price, but maybe a couple of times and not for very much. So again, this is going to be the kind of interesting thing about Tron. Is this going to become a collectible? Because if they don't make this in an XL, if they don't make this in a deluxe form factor, that means this is it. It's almost impossible to find this cab in any kind of good shape, a real arcade cab. They're all beat to heck, and even if you get into one, that means you become a technician for a 40-year-old Tron game. And this cab, offers a lot of bang for buck because you cannot replicate this easily on a multi-cade type machine. You can't replicate this very easily if you're just playing it on your PC. This is the way to play this game, and it is a great set of games, and it is a great title for a great franchise. And so even if you don't love it yourself, even if it's something that maybe doesn't float your boat, it might be one of those cabs that you could use as an investment opportunity, particularly if you soup it up with some of the mods that I've given. All right, so that's going to wrap this episode up. I hope you liked it. If you got anything out of it, please let me know down below. We have great dialogue here on this channel. I love talking to you guys. You guys are very incredibly knowledgeable about this stuff. Any questions about where I got it or ways to do it differently? One way that you can do it differently, if you don't want to go all in for a $75 monitor and a PC to run it or whatever, is it does come with a piece of paper that has the MPC printed out on it. but it's not great quality, and it doesn't actually cover up the larger version. He has a couple of different sizes that you can get back there for that J panel. I just went for the big dog. The model of computer monitor that I list there exactly covers it up, so you might have to wiggle it around to make sure it's perfect, but it will cover it up. So in other words, you could just use a cutout or a print or something like that if you didn't want to go all in on the video. This is one of those dream cabs, so I kind of went all in. Okay, so again, if you dig this kind of content, give me a thumbs up on the way out the door. It really helps the channel. Love each other, and until next time, see you guys in the Game Shack. Mwah!
Be sure to visit evilgeniusentertainment.com for exclusive content, swag, casting call news, and much, much more.